Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about a few birds whose Esperanto names have the letters STR in them. And I'll also give you a few other words along the way that you should learn alongside them. I don't know about you, but I think it's going to be a hoot. Let's start off with sturno. Sturno is the word for a starling. I don't know if you know a lot about the starling species. They're very good mimics of sound and noises and things. In fact, Mozart had a pet starling that he was fond of, and it was a star. He wrote about it in his journal. He even did a huge funeral procession and wrote poetry and ode to it after it died. But what's also very commonly known about starlings is that farmers and even bird lovers will view them as a pest. They're an invasive species that are kind of bullies to the other birds and will kick the other birds out of their houses and will eat up all their food and all that. And so a lot of people have to be stern with the starlings. They have to be aggressive with them and try to scare them off or deal with them one way or another. In fact, I've seen photos of farmers who dealt with them by pulling out a shotgun and shooting at the flock of them and having them just fall to the ground or poisoning them. And I've seen pictures where those hunters show off all of the dead starlings that they killed. In that case, Lee, the guy with the gun, sternis, or laid out for viewing, the starlings on the ground. Li sternis lo sturno in sul grundo. So if you didn't know what sterni means, it's sort of like to set out or lay out something. Li sternis lo sturno in sul grundo. So starlings you got to deal with one way or another. Okay? Next we have struto. Also STR there. Struto is an ostrich. Notice ostrich has STR altogether. But the way you're going to remember this is the biggest bird struts on Sesame Street. So strut and street sounds like struto. That is a terrible approximation of an ostrich, but I'm not really an ostrich drawing person. So can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Struto on Sesame Street, the big bird. Okay. Next we have Strigo. Strigo, another STR bird. It is the standard word for an owl. Kind of like in the other video I talked about, corvo means a crow, and you can have a big crow, a little crow, a black crow, whatever, but that's your go-to word. I could also tell you frugilego is the word for a rook of the crow family, but if all else fails, you just need to know corvo. In this case, you just need to know strigo. That's you can say it was a gray owl or a black owl or whatever, but strigo is the word for an owl. A way to remember that is a wise owl knows trigonometry. Knows trigonometry. Strigo. Okay? That is a strigo, an owl. Mi audis la huhuon de strigo. I heard the huhuing of a owl. Noktuo. This isn't a very common word. I'm only telling it to you because I want to make sure that you realize it is its own word. Because a noktuo is a little owl, or the little owl, which is a subspecies of owl. So if you said strigetto, meaning a little owl, kind of like Domo's house, Dometto is a little house, okay, I could see where you'd say, oh, strigo, so a strigetto, that's what you mean by little owl. Technically, noktuo is a strigetto, but that's not the species word for it. And if you see it in print somewhere, you go, Noktuo, we're talking about going through the night, or what is it? It's talking about a bird, okay? It's talking about an owl there, so la huhuo de Noktuo estas bruo. The huhuing of a little owl is a noise, but it's a separate species from strigetto, just being a general owl. The most famous owl word you need to know, in fact, the reason I'm telling you about strigo is that you realize there's a better, more general word for owl, because the most famous owl in Esperanto land is Gufo, which is the Eurasian eagle owl. And you can remember it looks goofy from the tufts on its ears. It kind of has little ears going up. It looks a lot like the owl from the Legend of Zelda game, sort of. I don't know if it's the same species intended to be, but the Eurasian eagle owl, the reason it's famous in Esperanto is that a lot of Esperanto events will have what's called a gufujo, which is in a non-alcoholic, non-smoking, calm tea room environment place for Esperanto speakers. They'll often have tea and cookies there and coffee and board games, maybe read poetry together, just chit-chat. It's an alternative for people who go to an Esperanto convention and maybe they are teetotalers. They don't like alcohol, so they're not going to follow everyone to the pub down the street to go carousing and getting drunk. They don't really approve of that, so they're not going to go. Or maybe, you know, someone brought their kids along and the kids want to stay up late and have some fun, but I can't bring my kid to this pub, so okay, he can go here and play Scrabble with other people at the gufujo that night. So it's an alternative for them. And one thing is that you don't use money to buy the tea and the drink and the coffee and the cookies and all that stuff. What you do is you spend $10 or whatever it is to buy a gufujo. Okay, here's mine from this last year. Alexo's gufujo. I have 6 punches out of 10. I don't know if they'll carry over. Could you do some research, find out if I should hold on to this one or if it's, use it or lose it. Costas $10 apartenas al Alexo. It costs $10, it belongs to Alex, and it is my owl card. And so if I want some more tea, I go over and say, Hans, can you please, punch my hole? He'll punch it, and then I'll get my choice. I can have a glass of tea with a little cookie, or I could get just 3 cookies and no tea, or whatever it is. The rules vary from gufujo to gufujo, but just remember that you goof off in a gufujo. But I want you to be careful that you don't think that goofy is a verb. Goofy is not a verb, it's a Disney character. There's another Esperanto phenomenon called alligatoreo, which is a place where you alligator. Alligatori is a verb. Speaking another language other than your native language or Esperanto at an Esperanto event. So if you want to practice your Spanish or French, you can go alligate at an alligatoreo. But because it's a verb, it's a place for doing that verb, ello. Whereas this is not a place to goofy, it's a place to be an owl, and it's a place for owls to sort of get together. So that's why it's gufujo. It's a place to contain us owls instead of a place to owl around. Okay, it's a minor difference, but I just wanted to let you know that in case you're curious. So yes, a gufujo is a place for that, and oftentimes they'll have little plush Beanie Baby owls there on the tables and whatnot. It's often candle lit, just sort of a fun experience. So I've enjoyed that for the last couple of years at the NOSC event in Raleigh, North Carolina. I appreciate all the work that goes into putting those together, and I hope to see you at one of them. Now, let us review the words we just learned. Struto is what? You remember? The biggest bird struts on Sesame Street. It is the biggest bird. It's the ostrich. Sturno, you have to be stern with them because they're invasive. I might even shoot a few and lay them out to show off how many I killed. I might sterni la sturnoin. They are starlings. Mozart had a pet one, and it was a star. Strigo, a wise, owl knows trigonometry, an owl. And then subsets of that, Noktuo is the little owl, and Gufo is the Eurasian eagle owl. All right? So that is basically who's who in Esperanto. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.